Yeah, I mean, it's definitely disappointing, especially at first glance. Jets just carry that gross stigma about them.
Yeah,
It's
they
not a
suck.
great. They really do. They suck. And their line was the 30th ranked last year. The overall offense was among the lowest point scorers in the league. But there's some reasons for optimism here. I mean, one, you got an amazing talent in Le'Veon Bell, the most versatile guy in the NFL, the premier zone runner that just reads defenses and has the patience and hits the hole at the perfect time. He's such a great runner and then even better as a pass catcher. So you've got this guy that thrives as a versatile workhorse in that facet, and Gase has used versatile workhorses quite well. I get that the last 2 years with the Dolphins, he's really gotten this stigma as an awful committee-style coach that doesn't ever ride a single guy. But I think that's a bit tainted over these last couple of years. Since in 2013 through 2016, this guy was a real workhorse bell cow breeder. Noshawn Moreno had 1,586 yards from scrimmage and 13 total touchdowns. C.J. Anderson racked up nearly 1,200 total yards, 10 TDs, and only 7 starts. Forte had 1,287 yards from scrimmage and 7 TDs in just 13 games. Jay Ajayi, 1,423 yards and 8 TDs in 12 2016 starts. So, I mean, this guy does have a decent track record. I know the recency bias will tell you otherwise, but he has a solid track record developing all-purpose workhorses, and there's no one better than Le'Veon Bell. In fact, he has a quote Gase said just a few years ago describing Ajayi, who this didn't pan out. It ended up fucking trading him away, and it sucked for everybody, but we went all in Ajayi thinking he was going to be the next workhorse because he says, in my offense, I want a guy that can do it all. You can protect the quarterback, you can run the ball, you can catch the ball. We can't just be you're a first and second down back, and then look. We want guys that can stay on the field on all 3 downs. We're not looking to sub personnel. We want to keep, we want to be in great shape, stay out there, and just run them. So that way defenses can't key on us. They can't switch out somebody during the drive. We want somebody that starts the drive, that finishes the series, and just has that all down style back. So that's Gase's offense when it's at its best, when he has those style guys. And there's no one better than Le'Veon Bell. 406 touches the last time he was on the field. The guy can shoulder an offense. We talked about the line sucking, the 30th ranked offensive line by Pro Football Focus. They did add some beef though. They traded with the Raiders to get Kalishi Osmeli, who was injured all last year. Kind of a shitty season for him because he didn't play much, and when he played, he wasn't effective because he was hurt. But just the year before, when healthy, he was dominant, especially in the run game. 85 overall grade by Pro Football Focus from 2016, 76 the year before. So consistent, solid Pro Football Focus rating, solid guard, and maybe even more importantly, the Jets, despite sucking, were interestingly one of the best zone blocking teams. When they used the outside zone concept, their backs averaged 2.7 yards before contact on those runs, which was the 3rd best in the league. And the outside zone is Le'Veon Bell's staple. So as gross as it all seems on paper, there's really underlying things that you can dig into and say, you know what, there is some upside here. He drops from like 7 or 8 on my rankings because I was hoping he'd go to like a Chiefs or a Buccaneers to now 12-ish. He's still a fringe first rounder in my opinion, though, because I do think there's some sneaky upside. There's always upside when you got a talent like Le'Veon Bell.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to be my obvious question is where do you take this guy? I mean, where do you put him? Like 8th amongst backs, maybe?
Yeah, right around RB8. I think there's like 7 guys I have ahead of him. Then there's a nice tier of receivers that I would take over him. That whole DeAndre Hopkins, now Odell Beckham, and Julio Jones tier. But I would take Le'Veon Bell right at the end of the first round, right ahead of James Conner, I would say, is where I slide him. So Gordon's right above Le'Veon Bell, and then James Conner right below him is kind of where I slide him into my running back rankings.
Do you think if somebody's like, I guess this doesn't come up too much, but I mean, if you're in a keeper league or something like that, multiple keepers, and maybe somebody's like, oh my gosh, Le'Veon Bell's going to the Jets. I mean, you'd be interested. You'd be a buyer, right?
If they're going to sell him for cheap, because it is again a workhorse.
Well, right. I mean, obviously it depends on the price, but
yeah. You're saying would I buy Le'Veon Bell or would I be trying to sell him?
no, would you be a buyer if somebody was like, oh man, he went to the Jets, I got to get off this guy?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's a workhorse, and like I said, there's underrated pieces of upside that get kind of clouded in the shittiness that was the Jets. Never mind the fact that, Sam Darnold takes the next step as a quarterback. Gase is supposed to be a quarterback whisperer. If he takes that next step, they got some decent receivers on the outside and the offense just takes a leap forward. Then maybe Bell could really explode here if he gets that volume that Adam Gase used to give his guys, and this offense does take that next step. There is some upside. There's, of course, the injury risk, too. Bell's missed significant time in multiple seasons, but overall, yeah, I'd be a buyer. Anytime you can get a three-down horse in an ascending offense, I think the Jets do take a step forward as an offense, and I think Bell could have himself a decent season. So if somebody's like, oh, this is gross, and they're trying to sell him low, I'm all in. I'd buy him, yeah.